Nada. All right. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right. Let's get this show on the road. Hopefully, it works here. Okay. Getting there, I think. We were having a little technical difficulties here a minute ago, so that's why I was running a little late. Come on now. All right. Well, as you can see, we're frozen up on August 26th there while the thing spins around for a second. Quite the event that happened on the sun there today. There it goes. Yeah, bear with us tonight. It's going to be hopefully not one of those shows. Hopefully nice and smooth from here on out. Okay. So I'm going to let that roll for a second there. Okay. And I'm going to take a moment to thank you all, even in replay, for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. This is not your ordinary YouTube live stream, okay? What we do at this channel is very disturbing, okay? We're talking about some truths that nobody else will address, and it's disturbing. So you need to have a strong foundation in order to be here at this channel, okay? So there's a little warning in there too, saying you better have a strong spiritual foundation before you start, you know, enjoying this channel. All right, little warning there, my disclaimer. Otherwise, thank you all. I love you, and well, here we go. All right, you're very precious to me. This is indeed the precious family. Okay, stick around until the end, the spiritual part, and you'll put two and two together, and you'll find out how special you are to me. Okay, so we were talking about this big Spire region last night, and I told you something was going to come out of that area. It's like a compass needle that points at an inbound object. And it's like, hey, watch out. We're starting to see this before the RUPS. We started to see this yesterday. I said, watch out. Something's going to come out of that area. And it gave birth. Bingo. Now, here's your spire. Now, watch after the event. See how bright and big it is? Now, after the event, oh, it's gone. Gee, I wonder what caused this spire to all of a sudden flare up and then disappear. Well, over at this channel, we know what it is, okay? For those of you who have eyes to see, it's plain as day what's going on there. And that was an awful lot of plasma that just got torn away from the sun there, okay? It's like spitting fire. That's all hot plasma all the way to the edge of the frame. That's a lot of chunk of energy right there. Blow up that big old blob of energy. Okay, so everybody take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. All right, we're going to pause on the opening frame. We're going to go through this frame by frame. Okay, boom. All right, first of all, let me take a deep breath myself first. All right, here we go. Opening frame, August 26, 2024. We are getting closer every day. All right, as we go into it, we were taking a peek at this last night. Remember, we snuck a peek, and it was this little event going on. And I said, watch out. These spires tend to be like compass needles. They point at an inbound object, and something might come out of this region, or it might be part of the stretch, too. So as we continue, you can see that indeed something did come out of that region. Okay, so we're plucking away here. Ding, 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 just marching away. Whoops, what was that? Oh, UFOs zipping through there, no big deal. They're real. Government admitted to them. I've fought for years for that day when they would finally admit that they're real. And when that day came, everybody just blew over it and went right past it. But the implications is what they didn't explain to you. Anyways, here we are. You can see some kind of little moon, little something coming out right here already. And it's got the V-shaped bow shock on it. Blinds the camera. Now look at this. Watch this bulb of plasma grow too. It just, boom, stretches on out. Okay, your indentation right here totally shows you that your object's right here. In fact, let's just go zoom in on that real quick since it's hidden in the plasma so much on the other screen right there. Okay, so there's an object in this vicinity right here making a major dent in the readings right there, okay? Hang on, I gotta sneeze here. Excuse me. All right, number 2. There we go. Excuse me. Never had that happen before. All right, anyways, you can see round object, black round object with its little wake, plowing off like this. It's made a little indentation in the plasma, and the same reading on this red line. And let's back on out of this because it's important you see this from a little further back. All right, now as we progress slowly through this, we're at 1524, and then it jumps to 1624. Okay, so we're missing a few frames. It's not a lot, but those were precious frames between totally enveloped in plasma and starting to emerge. Okay, now you see this V shape here in the plasma. Our little objects out here probably latched onto a bunch of plasma, and another little object here or something is pulling some back, or it's latching on to, wrapping around a bigger one down below. Let's kind of get to right about, is it this one? Maybe both of these, all 3 of them. Well, starting with this one right here, let's go ahead and zoom on in on the red side here. Sorry. And then scroll up. All right. All this plasma is still white hot as it exits the screen right here, okay? In the background, you can see this darker little area back in here, okay? And then when we slide over to this side, it looks like there's a little moon on top here with something bigger underneath it here. You can see it right there. And then let me try to go like this. Boom. And all this plasma is still glowing white hot all the way out the frame. That's a lot of energy that just came out of this event right there. And, well, that's probably going to head south of us in our direction. And you can see the crisscrossed, crochet magnetic field lines, teardrop effect going back behind. And then all that spire area, all gone. Okay, so let me pull them back. Boom, 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 boom. And back it up a little bit here. scooch it on over for you. Hello, Tina P. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here, you guys. I would name you all off, but we'll do that at the end here. Okay, you can even make out a little moon, something right in here. Okay, there's something just, disturbing this perfectly round teardrop structure. Whoops. Here, you see this V going in. There's something dark right there. And then we go to the next frame, see how there's this divot in the reading right there, as if there's some little moon right here causing a little breakup in this perfectly round ball type structure of plasma. See that? See how it's all nice and like a light bulb, and then bing, it splits. Yeah. I wish we had just a little bit wider field of view so we could see the rest of this down below under here where the white buttons are. That would be cool if we could see what's going on after it leaves the frame there. We could come over to stereo A, I guess. Let's do that really quick. We don't often take a peek at stereo A anymore. And sometimes we get really good shots out of this one, and all the data's missing. Wonderful. All righty. Well, we'll just leave that one going. All right, let's come on over to Solar Ham here and get this show on the road. Okay, so first off, let's come up here. Solar flux indices 232. We're in the red. We're only down 1 point. It was 233. It came down 1, so not much. Meanwhile, your sunspot number went way up. We're up 24 more sunspots to 202. So there's definitely an uptick in sunspot numbers. Sunspots sometimes end up being these objects interfering with the magnetic field. Okay, so sunspot number just grew by 24. Possibly 24 little more moons, or, an object with, a bunch of other little stuff coming along with it, possibly. We'll see. Area, we don't care about that right now. Let's pop this open, please, and get all zoomified. Zoom. Whoops, sorry. Okay, 3790, just about to crest the limb there and depart. 3792, still got a beta gamma configuration here. 3796, pretty strong poles, but they're gapped. 3800, this was our oddball. Okay, this is where our event came from, was from down here. This is what was creating that Spire region. And now that whole Spire region is gone. And I bet you this thing will kind of peter out now. 3799 kind of petering. Well, not petering out. It's no more just this one single heart-shaped one. It's starting to get a reverse polarity over on that side now. Okay. Meanwhile, 3801, and then some other stuff coming off the limb there. Let's go back really quick and come on over to my house, and we're going to have barbecue. All right, here we go. Let's see how fluxed we are. The solar X-ray flux. All right, here's your bumpy ride for today. We got up to M class right there, came down, then had a couple little M classes right there. So that's your GOES X-ray for today, and that doesn't necessarily reflect all the activity on the sun. That's just between the sun and the instrument. That activity is what's recorded there. Okay. So kind of a little bumpy ride today. Came out of it nice and smooth. Going into tomorrow, pretty smooth. A few little hiccups here and there. We could take a peek at this if you want. What? No? You don't want to see what happens after this? Oh, boy. We could see that right there if you want. And if you don't, well, tough. We're going to do it anyway. Oh, we got a whole 3 frames, so let me just go. Bing, 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 bing. Not much to look at tonight. Okay, good. Now we can move on. So, not much to look at so far. Now let's pull back, and the good news is we did not have a geomagnetic storm. Okay. There was no G1, no G3, no nothing. So good. I love when G0s are forecasted and they come true. Okay. Because I don't want G1s and 2s and 3s. Okay. We don't need to be absorbing any more energy, period. But fortunately, we got the sun out there that keeps sending stuff our way. So, meanwhile, our X flare potential down to 25%, or up to 25%, sorry. M flare 70%. Okay, and then we're going to come on over. Now, our geomagnetic field here, nice and quiet. Okay, we either did not get hit yet, or we got missed, or there was no impact. Do you remember seeing that shield the other night come off of the sun? That shield? Maybe we were shielded. Okay, anyways, there's AR 3801 beta gamma, 3800, the oddball that had that object come out of it. Okay, beta gamma says growing, but I bet you that'll change. It'll be declining now that that event's over. 3799 beta gamma growing, 3796. So there's a lot of red still here, but nothing beta gamma delta yet. So that's good news as well. No impact, quiet auroras. Good news all around. Okay, solar activity this past weekend remained at moderate levels with occasional low level M flares observed. 3796 appears to be the most active of all the sunspot regions. 96, where'd you go? Oh, right there. That little group right there, okay, which is kind of turning away. That's good. So 3796 appears to be the most active with the numerous upper level C flares and one low level M flare. Okay, a couple of new regions, AR 3803 and 04, turned into view, and both appear to be stable for now. Okay, I want to open up the tracker, see if they're tracking our latest CME here. And it appears to be heading away. That's good. You know, I don't want to see anything coming at us. I'll take that all day long. Meanwhile, apparently we didn't have an impact or anything, or it's running a little late. Either way, that's good. Let me back on out. Howdy, Jimmy. Glad you made it, bub. Okay, so. Ooh, do we get to see? Oh. I thought we'd get to see it on the C3 there. That's okay, though. All right, that's old article. Let's move on. Okay, so watch this, you guys. Geomagnetic storm watch canceled. A CME that was expected to graze Earth's magnetic field today on August 26th either missed or is approaching more slowly than predicted. Either way, a geomagnetic storm is unlikely. The G1 watch is canceled. Yay. Now, incoming daylight comet is still alive. Amateur astronomers, they're all showing this wonderful comet and everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit play here. And I'm going to let you guys watch that for a minute and see if you notice anything going on in there. The sun would be over here on the right, kind of where the arrow is, splaying out this way. These are the little planets. This would be probably Earth or Mercury and Venus. So all the little planets have these little streaks going up. But there's this weird, wonder what that could be. And I want you to watch closely how it moves compared to the side of the frame, how it moves compared to the stars in the background. This thing is moving compared to the stars. It's not standing still. It's moving compared to the camera. Something right here is big and it's moving. It's, bending light, appearing to be see-through. Okay, you can take light from one side, wrap it around a sphere, and put it on the other side, and it'll be see-through. But you would be able to make out, the edges, right where the light starts to bend. the very fringes of a light bending sphere would, give little hints, little tiny details around the edges there. Kind of interesting how everything's blowing towards it too, huh? Now everybody would argue, oh, you can still see the stars in the background. It's just a lens flare or a lens thing, and it could be. It could just be the sun reflecting off the lens cap and then capturing some of that lens or whatever. So it could be a lens flare. But these objects, these ones that bend light, appear to be see-through. You can't see them. They're so dark, they're bending light. They're taking the light from the other side, wrapping it around to a focal point on the front, and it's called gravitational lensing. And we'll get into gravitational lensing here in the future, but just something similar to this has been captured before, okay, and they had no explanation for it. Here we got something similar captured again, especially while we're observing some of these bigger objects, approaching the sun. So I'm wondering if possibly this might be a capture of one of our bigger objects, and they're just not quite sure that they caught what they caught there. Now, the way that it's refracting and you see a shadow over on this side, that kind of tells me it's more like the lens on the camera, light coming from one side. But when you look at how everything's flowing in the direction of this, how the comet and everything kind of oriented more towards this than they are the sun. Very interesting. Very interesting capture. It was like MBB 333 years ago captured one with a ridge that ran down the front of it. It was a sphere that had an equatorial ridge that ran north-south because the thing had flipped. But anyways, interesting capture right there. And we'll get into gravitational lensing and stuff too. Very fascinating stuff. All right, now we're going to come over here to our null school for right now and get going on this. We had our storm that passed Hawaii. This next one has more of a head-on course to hit it. Okay, as it gets closer and closer, we'll pull up Ventusky and kind of track to make sure it's what direction it's going. But there's your 3 vortices. We're lucky there's not a third or fourth one right there because they'd be equal distant. Okay, and there was, another one that was growing back here. Sand has diminished that. But here we're seeing our equal distant type effect of the hurricanes. Not perfectly, but that's the conveyor belt type effect that I was expecting to see in the Atlantic. And thankfully, the sand has diminished that. So there's your storms there. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 intense hurricane, typhoon, cyclonic. This one hitting the islands of southern Japan there. This one whipping up a little bit over here. Look at this one starting to gain strength here. And then, where was the other one? I thought I saw another one here. No, I think that was it. Oh, we got to watch this now. See this little guy forming right in there? All right, so all kinds of storm stuff. Oh, here, this is the other one I was thinking of right there. All right, so there's a lot of storm activity going on. Okay, wild weather because, well, we got all kinds of celestial events happening that, well, dictate our weather as well. Just all kinds of stuff that are dictating our weather now. So now we're going to come over, first of all, and do our sandstorm report. Whoops, wind. Okay, take it off. And we got good structure. It has this big dip in it and coming back right here. But very intense out here. So there's a lot of sand aloft to be caught up in the conveyor belt and be thrown into this, into the strike zone here where all our hurricane genesis is and really cut down on convection. Now, going across over here, you can still see this region has a lot of sand. Very intense up here at the Gobi Desert and still over here as well. The eyes are fading a little bit, but there's still something going on over there. This area is in big trouble. All right, so boom, boom, boom. There's your sandstorm. And something I want to do really quick, I want to see where that vortex air is located compared to, oh, good, there isn't one. All right, so there's your, the wind's taking your sand, taking it across and blowing it right into this whole region. Follow your lines really quick. This little vortex over here is actually taking stuff and driving it back a little bit now, causing this to bubble up and back up a little bit. So we got to watch out for this rotation halting some of that sand. We want it to, we want it to all come off nice and smooth and funnel up through all this area. I know it doesn't sound good, but now it's our friend. These sand plumes have been really cutting back on the hurricane season. This country would have been demolished by now for the hot water temperatures that we have out there. If it wasn't for this sand, we'd be living in a different world right now. Okay, let's come on over to SO2. Okay, they had to shut down places in Britain, England, UK because SO2 plume that came out of Iceland. Sulfur dioxide is poisonous. It's not good to breathe. Okay, here's your country divided. Kind of clearing up in this region. We got flooding and stuff probably plugging up some of the pores in that area. But this side of the country bleeding out. Over here, more just coming out of the perforations in the crust. So there's your country divided. We could unite, you know. It's pretty easy if you all just pulled your... Easy, Brian. Easy. They're not ready yet. Okay. Here we go. While we're here, we're going to do a fire report because this SO2 is a sulfur dioxide, not carbon dioxide. This is the gas that surrounds the magma down below, so hot that when it comes out of the ground, it'll cause spontaneous combustion of any kind of vegetation in the area, okay? Also, other gases like methane might be coming up as well, okay? They're right next to each other down there, so it's quite possible, too, that at some of these sites we might be seeing methane release. And when hot methane comes out of the ground at 2,000 degrees, it hits the air and just automatically on fire. So it comes out of the ground on fire sometimes. Methane does, not SO2. So a lot of these fires up here were sparked by the SO2 emissions, okay? This was happening last year up in Canada. We started to see it kind of creep south here. Look at that smiley face right there. We started to see it creep south here and spark fires here in Oregon. We had this plume open up, a little volcanic eruption right there. I don't think they really reported it. But Mr. MBB caught that plume that was 120 mile long. Okay, so there is a volcanic event that nobody really kind of admitted to right there. And we're still seeing a very strong SO2 emission and healthy fire production in that area, right? So this is like a new volcanic site, basically. Okay. Then we had this happen up here the other day in Wyoming. Brand new site opened up here, and supposed wildfire. And the plume that came out looked more volcanic than a wildfire. Supposedly the fire's out, but that plume is still going in that region. And now another one has opened up here pretty strong. And we got a little smile coming out of that area too. Now, it was creeping further down, and here's your activity in Southern California here. We still have SO2 emissions so hot that they sparking fires. This one here in SO2, or in Southern Cal from SO2. This one that was up here in Redding, or up here was finally put under control, and you can see the plume has died down as well, and that's why they got a handle on it. A lot of your fires being started from underground. This activity was creeping south, and it seems to have retreated And then it started creeping east. And possibly this one, that one. Let me take those other ones out. That one probably. This one. So not every SO2 emission site starts a fire. It could be in a dirt field where there's no vegetation around, or it could, erupt at the base of a tree and then catch that tree on fire and then it spreads, right? But it seems to have retreated from this area, except for some of this activity might be kind of creeping back in. We won't say for sure quite yet because a lot of people still use fires and stuff to cook and for heating in that area. So coming down through there, we'll take off the fires now because you don't want to see what's going on down there. Okay, coming over here, you can see our emission plumes here. Our fulcrum point, pretty dark today. Good shape. You know what I'm saying? Good organization, everything. So pretty good pressure going on. Meanwhile, there's a really strong site right there. Let's go ahead and see. Yeah, South America definitely having some issues there. All right, let's go ahead and take those off now. All right, so these emissions along the coastline here and the fulcrum point kind of keep pressure down or keep the magnitudes down along the plate boundaries right there. Okay, they're relieving pressure as well, so that's good. Actually, I don't need that up. I want to do Hawaii really quick. Good, no weird face today. Okay. Unless you see it. All right, here we are diving into Hawaii. We got 3 good plume sites. Oahu's still pumping pretty good. Maui's still got some, and Hawaii, the main island. So we're doing pretty good there as far as SO2 emissions. This is the hub of the Pacific Rim. If the Pacific Rim were like a bicycle rim, well, this would be where all the spokes meet the hub. And you can see the storm that just passed has scooped up a lot of this SO2 and gets caught up in the storms as well. Okay, we're going to come on over, back up for their daytime. Okay, so here we are over at China. Very strong emissions. It kind of looks like it, maybe not. Still spreading up through this area, all down through the Korean Peninsula. That's probably why they're meeting. They're like, hey, what are we going to do when our countries dissolve? Meanwhile, very good SO2 emissions coming out of Japan. There's a lot of pressure in this area, and many plates come together here at Japan. So SO2 emissions out of this island is good as well because it's relieving pressure for these people. Now, here we are at our fulcrum point, Taiwan, and hadn't seen a lot of big quakes. We did see some activity that did reduce pressure in the region, but it's still pumping away SO2. So there's still a lot of pressure in that area, pushing out a fair amount of SO2. Um, here's northern Philippines. Then we come down and check out Java. Okay, very windy. You can see a lot of this gas has been pulled off the island. So if you pushed all that back on, there had been kind of a purple day today. There we go. And if we just hit the wind really quick, you'll see what I'm saying. The wind's all kind of taking it offshore right there. So if we undid the wind, you'd see all of this would be back on the island and it would be a little bit darker. Okay. We're seeing some good, strong SO2 emissions out of this area and it relieves pressure. That's our other little relief valve right there. Meanwhile, over here in India, it's getting darker over here because their plumes are getting more intense. Now the winds have been coming through and pushing this up against the Himalayas here, and it won't make it across the top of the Himalayas, so it's getting backed up here in India. Now you can see we have this vortex, this rotation out here that's taking this gas and whipping it around. Here, watch. I'll put that on. See what I'm saying? See what I mean, Vern? So it's taking all this SO2 and keeping it in this area. You know, it skirts up here, but then it takes it right back around and throws it in and just kind of keep recycling the SO2 in that area. And then you see this whole ridge right here that's all SO2 socked in there too as well. They're in deep trouble there too, okay? Over here, oh boy, I don't even know how to... Let's just let the images speak for themselves. A lot of SO2 coming out of this region. There's, well, a lot of pressure under there. Definitely something going on there. Coming over to this region today, we have this weird looking horse face with a white eye. I don't know what the heck. All right, so there's your SO2 emissions out of this area. Okay, also up here. So we get Iceland erupts, and it throws this huge SO2 plume. You see all this brown area right here? All of this just came at England here. So they got locked down, not locked down, but they're told, you know, hey, don't go outside. There's too much SO2. And that could happen in your area if you ever get downwind from one of these sites, or, you know, downwind from a volcanic eruption. That could happen to, you know, in any area. Here's another vortex up here, picking up that gas, rotating it around. Okay, so there's your SO2 emissions. Oh, something else to point out. Up here at the top of the world here, in the Arctic, in the tundra, way up here in Russia, very strong emission sites, okay, because we have pressure coming out in that region. And when we go over to the temperature anomaly map, you'll see. So let's get on out of here and let's come on over and do that right now. Everybody take a deep breath. Here we go. Give him strength, Lord. Okay, here's our plume in the Atlantic Ocean. Still pretty good structure right there. Big yellow bar, a little bubble up in here. This guy was like blowing a trumpet or something. Kind of dissipating the structure of that, but still kind of that whole area. The area that you're all concerned about. Here we go. Take a peek. Still very bright right along there. In fact, do you see a well-defined yellow line? Do you see this defined yellow line going through there? That's the actual plate boundary right there. That is... Whew. And then this right off of Northern California here, this plume connecting up with this plume. See yellow sneaking in here. All of these are connecting up here, you guys. Look at this one over in LA, reaching in. Boom. There's barely any kind of cold water left in that area. Just a tad bit up here, and a very little bit off the fulcrum point. It's encroaching more and more. It's encroaching, you know, this way. And it can go under the land. This is land. Don't forget, this is land with water sitting on top of it. So you're seeing heat plumes or volcanic emissions creeping this direction. Creeping in that direction, all right? So our whole comma-shaped structure has kind of like come disassembled. We still have this, you know, yellow area up here and this little spot down there, but the middle part has like almost kind of shoved over to here now. It looks like all the intensity here was lost when these sites opened up. A big yellow bar going on out here. Secondary little yellow bar kind of separating now up here, Japan. Meanwhile, you can see all of our volcanic islands that are relieving pressure have cold water. Same with these ones over here, the Kamchatka. We're seeing cold water inundation along them. But very, very hot water along that area. Okay. Also, let's real quick come over to Taiwan. This is our fulcrum point. The other day we had yellow streaks coming in here, and they have, since retreated and diminished. And we are actually seeing areas where there's no red. It's getting down to brown and almost black. So a big pressure reduction in that area, resulting in a temperature reduction in that area. These correlate to pressure. When pressure builds, it gets yellower because, well, it's more heat coming out of the ocean floor. So pressure's been relieved in that area. We're actually seeing a fair amount of cold water building up on the backside right there. Okay, meanwhile, we come down through the Philippines. You can see they still have a few areas that are glowing yellow. Ow. Oh, excuse me. So here we are over at not Cuba, Java. And it's our relief valve, been doing a lot of the release of pressure via the volcanoes, SO2 emissions, and earthquakes along this plate boundary line. So here you can see a lot of cold water in this area because, well, it's doing its job. It's relieving pressure, and we have cold water inundation. Meanwhile, I got a new hot spot just opened up right there. Look at that one. Don't tell me there's something not venting heat in one spot. Okay, this isn't like, over the course of the summer, this whole region kind of got yellow and warmed up from the sun. No, this is one spot on the ocean floor that's emitting either magma, super hot water. It could even be steam, air that's built up down below and comes out in form of hot bubbles and steam. Doesn't matter. There is some kind of heat plume coming off the ocean floor. It goes up, heat rises, so it travels up through the water columns, and then when it hits the surface, it blossoms out much like a mushroom cloud does. So you get this hot column that rises up, and then when it hits the surface, it spreads out in a circular fashion, and that is a clear signature of an opening on the ocean floor. That's why, look at here. I won't do reports on this. This is landlocked. This is heating from the sun. There is no other cold water that could come in and dilute it down or anything. That's why I don't report on this part right in here, because we're getting different kinds of, false readings. But when you come out here into open ocean and you see cold water here in the tropics where it shouldn't be, and you see a super hot spot like that, it's clear. It's plain as day. Meanwhile, everybody's watching everything else. Very important stuff going on right here, right now. And we're all distracted by political shenanigans. All kinds of different little hot spots opening up along here, okay? Same with this. This is your mid-Atlantic ridge that comes down. It's like the zipper, the crack in the earth, okay? There are sites out here that are emitting, there's a three-way junction point right here out off of Spain and Portugal where three plates intersect, and we got magma coming out of there. This spot seemed to kind of calm down a little bit. You see that? We're getting cold water on the backside, so this little thing's still going, but definitely tampering down. Now let's go ahead and put the wind on there, because what's disturbing is that these heat signatures are now controlling our weather. It's no longer the jet stream sending stuff this way and that way. It's heat signatures. When something new opens up, it changes our conveyor belt type structure. You see this little cold area that popped open here, and this is more solidified or more centralized now. So we have a more tighter organized rotation here, not so broad and wide open conveyor belt. Then our heat signatures are bringing stuff up like this and across. Okay, so as long as it's bringing stuff up and taking this sand up and across, it's all good. I don't want to see anything that's, sending the sand right back into Africa. Okay, so we were seeing this thing complete and then throwing sand back in. Now it is kind of reversed that, and it's still rotating the same direction, but it hasn't completed on this side, thus letting sand through. This coming up and driving, another driving force would be the southern fetch here coming off the southern equator, crossing into the northern equator. I mean, it's not supposed to be happening. anybody worth their salt would notice this and go like, "Oh my God, what's something wrong?" But apparently, weather people don't even understand that anymore. So yeah, we got the southern fetch. It comes off and hits this cold, hot rotation right here. Hot water, hot air rising, cold water, cold air sinking, rushing in to replace it, causing rotation. So it's rotating through like that, keeping this little S shape. This reminds me like a almost like the derailleur on a 10 speed. It goes through one, zigzags, and out through another. All right, so there's your conveyor belt type structure for the Atlantic. For this was yesterday. Okay, it's a day behind. So this is what it looked like yesterday. Probably very similar today. It doesn't change too much over one day, but we do see changes. Okay, cold water inundation, hot water inundation up here, melting a lot of the ice in this region, okay, causing cold water. When ice melts, it's now cold water. So we're getting cold water added to the system when it melts, when the ice melts. All right, so you'll see some of these plumes start to melt ice and add cold water injected into the system as well. So cold and hot, you see your vortex rotation matching the heat signatures. Let's come on over to the Pacific. I'm going to let it sit there for a minute. Okay, and you can see your correlating heat signature or correlating air patterns to heat signature. Let me just kind of really quick. We're at this air pattern structure right here, okay, with our vortex and our good shaped conveyor belt right here, okay? Now what I'm going to do is take off the oceans and keep that air pattern, okay, at 850. Okay, there's your air pattern still going. Now we're going to go up to the lower jet stream that's usually in charge of controlling the weather. Does that look like it's controlling our weather? There's your upper jet stream. This pattern is taking over and no longer are our jet streams kind of in control. It's not matching up too much today, but the other day it was quite disturbing how we get atmospheric compression from the sun and it shoves these upper layers, the 250, 500, 700, these higher layers, it shoves them down lower. It runs into this well-defined air pattern and changes your jet streams to match your thermal pattern. Not matching up too much tonight. A little bit, this whole area right there. Let me go back. So our thermal patterns affect the jet streams. Not so much tonight, but it was before. Okay, so there's all that. And a bag of chips. Oceans, let's leave it on. Wind patterns. Okay, so you can see your heat structure, hot, cold down here had back here had started these genesis of these two, well, actually three little hurricanes here. Look, there's a fourth rotation right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, almost evenly spaced. Because we got hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. All right. So that kind of structure is just going to start spitting out hurricane after hurricane. We need more of that sand to make it across and get over into this area and kind of dilute that convection down. All right. Amazing how this stuff is starting to hook up with our patterns now. Look at this. We're getting rotation down here. It's actually causing stuff to come into the West Coast now. We had this whole thing that was coming down and then heading back out. Something else has changed out here. This new rotation has changed that whole conveyor belt structure right there. And now with these new heat plumes on the West Coast right here, look how it's drawing stuff in. We're getting a vortex growing up here. Hot, cold, There's cold here and hot off the coast here. So all of a sudden now our wind pattern has changed because of this. Actually, because of this. Whatever this new pressure release caused, different temperatures here causing vortex. And now this vortex rotating this way is pushing up against that flow that was coming down the coast and going out. So now we got something that's come up against it and now is pushing weather into the country. Everybody in this region be on high alert for a volcanic explosion offshore, possibly a large earthquake. I pray that it doesn't happen. I don't want to see that kind of stuff happen, but you can see why I say that. Now let's get into the earthquake report tonight, and let's just hop on in here. So, no deep quake in the deep region right there to report tonight. Here we have a 4.7 down at 10. Our little deep region here where plate boundaries intersect, 5.8. That's almost a 6 right there. Right here, just off of Java, 4.6, and these little volcanic islands out here. Okay, I was just showing you cold water in this area. Well, we have a lot of SO2 emissions. We have volcanic Semeru, 15,000 every day, and Merapi on this island. So a lot of pressure comes out there, and so much that that's not even enough. And we have them quakes at 5.5 down at 47 in that little trench area right there. Okay, so 5.7, 5.8, some bigger magnitudes here because we had some bigger deep quakes yesterday. Mid-range 4, mid-range 4. Here we are at Taiwan. Finally a quake here. Fulcrum Point quake, 4.3 down at 27. We want more in that area. See, this thing's jammed up. We're seeing stuff that's just off the fulcrum. I want to see like right in here, down in there. It doesn't matter, really. It's relieving pressure in the area. But that's just off the fulcrum. 4.3 down at 27. Godzilla waking up. That's real, right? All right, we'll come into America later. We did all that. Oh, oddball quake here in Australia. 2.7. Uh-oh. Not uh-oh because it's 2.7. Uh-oh because it's not really looking like it's a volcanic feature, maybe. Or a mining operation. More likely the mining operation. I was going to say a diverse quake because there's no plate boundary, no volcanic feature there, but nope, man-made cause quake. That's not diverse. Up here, though, Fulcrum Point quake 4.9. And what do we do with the longest list in the world of 4.9s on the USGS site? Yeah, that's why. Probably around a 5, especially when we've seen over 5 uptick in this area. It was probably about a 5 there. Okay, let's drop in to Greece. 4.5 at the surface there. Yeah, if we're seeing 4.5 here, that was probably a little stronger over there. We need to see more pressure releases. That's good, but it's not enough. Meanwhile, all kinds of activity going along on this boundary right here. They're just not showing it. They probably don't have, well. Looky here. There is one 4.5 at the surface there. Plate boundary quake, scrubbing energy at the surface. Let's just touch base on South America really quick, and then we'll go into America. Now, down here, where we see a lot of the SO2 plumes coming out of there, very concentrated, 5.0 down at 59. That's perfect. That's beautiful. That's what we want to see. Those SO2 emissions really strong. Keep the magnitude down to 5 where it's not so damaging. Do you see where this plate boundary comes in, zigzagging, bing, 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 and runs into this plate? That is a three-way plate boundary intersection, a fulcrum point. Just off of that fulcrum point, shoving pressure coming in through this. See how it zigzag? It wanted to zigzag and then zig up maybe. So pressure comes in here. It can't release. This is all locked up. SO2 emissions are releasing. So your quake release is over here where you get your SO2 emissions, your 5.0. Perfect. That's if we could. This is a good textbook example of the Earth's pressure release system already kind of set up in its design. All right, the way the plates are designed, the way we have perforations in the crust. Nature has its way of like already established way of releasing this and dealing with it. Meanwhile, fulcrum point quake, 4.6 there. Possible another fulcrum point. It's inside this fulcrum. And there's like the main part right there. But right behind this mountain ridge, these foothills are a soft zone. There's a weak zone right through there. And just off your fulcrum point, just off that weak zone, or in this weak zone, just south of the fulcrum point, at 4.2. Okie dokie pokey, let's go all magnitude. And dive into America. America. Oh, wait, we just went way too far in. Okay, a little bit of micro quaking activity here. It's a little swarm, a little tiny 1.2s, little tiny volcanic activity at a volcanic island. Coming up through here, I always like to check this area, and today we have a 5.1. Usually we're looking at like 3.5, 3.8 in this region. Now we're seeing 5.1, definite uptick in magnitude there. 28.6, doubt if it caused a tsunami. Biggest quake in this region for a while. Surprised we haven't seen something kind of a little bit bigger pop off in this fulcrum point area, in this area here. 2, not enough. 2, not enough. Couple up here, but they're just, yeah. We might still see a little bit of, this is 5.1, it said? Yeah, we might see mid-range 4 or 5 possibly in that area, okay? That pressure is definitely in the area, okay, that's for sure. Now, whoops, come back. Come to Papa. All right. As you look, little activity going through the Puget Sound area. They're all microquakes. I'm not checking all magnitudes, but right here, quake at the tip of Mount Rainier. Another quake, a couple quakes at the tip of Mount St. Helens there. Okay, so we're seeing quake activity on the flanks too, the flank of the volcano. So we're seeing quakes activity on the flank and at the summits of both these volcanoes. Did you see that? On the flanks and at the summit of both volcanoes. That's a little warning sign right there. Something gonna happen here pretty soon, I think. Especially with people exploding stuff. All right. Here we go. Fulcrum point quakes. It's better than nothing, but we need to see higher magnitude, especially out of the fulcrum right here. This releases a lot of energy. If we could see a couple of mid-range 5s out of that thing every day, without doing a bunch of damage and causing tsunamis, mid-range 5s would release a lot of the pressure in that area. Also, over here, this weak spot here, see this little peninsula? They built a neighborhood out on this thing, and now it's starting to slough, and we're seeing little 2.8s here at Prattville, California, because when you shake this stuff down, this whole peninsula has liquefaction underneath it, okay? So it's just waiting. It's like a big old finger of gelatin, and then you build a bunch of houses on it. It's going to have sloughing problems. Yeah. Good quake activity, micro quaking here, a little bit of inland right there. That's good. It relieves pressure before it comes into the Bay Area, reducing it down to 1.3. We get little plate boundary quakes right here, not too much today. Our little pocket down here doing good. A little uptick. Remember, we were only seeing 2 to 3 here. Still 2.5s and 2.4s. So a little uptick. There's a few more and a little higher in magnitude there. A little activity going on out here in the desert. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, wonderful. A little bit of quick activity here, Searless Valley. Oh, yeah. And up here, Little Lake. And then we still have that stuff out by Walker. Not too bad. All right. Let's go on into Texas here. Ooh, up here, 2.8 in Colorado. 2s here in White City, New Mexico. What's going on here, please, Lord? 1.5 in Texas. Okay, weak spots in the crust, man-made perforations in the crust. This is over here. Oklahoma, our Craton, nothing on the Craton today. So all in all, pretty, well, we had an uptick in magnitude with our 5s today. This area is nice and normal there. Okay, so just some uptick in 5 here, 5s here. So we're starting to see a little higher magnitude. We saw some higher magnitude deep quakes out of this region. No deep quakes today. All that bubble from down below has now reached the surface, and now we're seeing, just some slight uptick in magnitude. 5.8, 5.5, 5.1. You see what I'm saying around this area? Okay. All done, son. Let's move on. I got to close out this. We did not take a look at the Schumann tonight. Let's go really quick. If I can get some of these out of here. The Schumann was kind of jamming things up a little bit tonight. Because it comes out of Russia. This side at least does. Okay, there's your Schumann. We talked about this event last night. We saw a big pressure build up and then a big release. We had a big magnitude quake. Since then, it's just been this roller coaster ride of intense, not intense, intense, a little scraping, back to weak, intense, back to weak, a little bit, back to weak, and then it gets intense, weak. So it's just been this intense, weak roller coaster ride. Okay. Couple of little spikes right here during the last, 8 hours right there. So probably been wondering what's going on. Oh, this is going on in the background. Indications of pressure building up and then releases. We see it in our earthquakes, and then we'll see also here in our volcano report. So let me go ahead and clear out that and get that out and that out of there, so we can open up a volcano report. Oh, you guys are hanging tough. Trying to blaze through this as quick as we can, while still trying to get out important information. This part is still important. All right, 34 and 33. What? 34 and 33 is now 67. We have 67 active volcanoes. If I'd have told you 7 years ago when this started happening to me that, well, here we will be with 67 active volcanoes now, you said, Brian, you're crazy. Well, here we are, 67 active volcanoes 7 years later, and I am still crazy about you. Whew. Let's get into it. Let's dance, shall we? Semeru, Ibu, Dukono. Look at these lava arms reaching down as if pressure shoved magma up through a perforation in the crust and it oozed down the sides. Something like that, like something like that happened. And then all this SO2 plume came out. Imagine that. Svarensky, a new series of satellite imagery of the effusion eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula, has processed. Something else that happened up here. People were in an ice vault or in an ice cave that collapsed. Okay, there's a lot of heat under the ground. You're having volcanic emissions in Iceland. Going into an ice cave is not highly recommended. Okay? The fact that someone actually did this and then the cave collapsed on them and killed some people. We need to start using some common sense about all this stuff. Either people aren't being informed or they didn't pay attention in school that heat melts ice, okay? Just in case you didn't know, or in case the mainstream media taught you, oh, nope, ice will stay ice if you put a flame to it, whatever. It's just sad to see the loss of human life because of lack of knowledge. Really, it's lack of knowledge. IBU, 10,000 feet. Usually we're together at 8,000. Now IBU at 10,000. Luatobi, 8,000. Semaru, 14. Okay, it's usually pushing 15, so a little drop in pressure there, but still, 14,000 foot blast is no slouch. Every day, it's just pumping. Dukono here, 7,000 feet. The White Island in New Zealand, 600 to 900 meters. Fuego, no VA. Here at Sabancaya in Peru, that's along the coast there with all your SO2 emissions, 24,000 feet. Okay, that's way up there. That's a lot of ash to get that high. And this thing just does it day after day after day after day after day. Same with Semaru. And this is all just within the last few minutes. Okay, let's get into today, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel. Time flies when you're having fun. If you are watching the clock and you are like, oh my God, it's still 5 minutes before I get off work. Well, if you start having fun, the time will go by so fast you won't even know it. Now, into today was Abu, okay, no VA, but Suwanosejima exploded at 7,000 feet. IBU again, stated eruption at Luatobi, 8,000. Semaru, 14 again. And this is what it looks like when pressure releases from inside the planet and finds a perforation. It goes, how's it go, Brian? All right. Dukono, 9,000. White Island, 3,000 foot blast there. Katmaya on the Alaskan Peninsula. Okay, those little islands out there, no eruption, but we're still seeing some emissions out of it. That's made it on the list. Fuego, 14.8 to 15.7. Pretty high. Nevada del Ruiz, no VA. Reventador, no VA. Sabancaya, we already saw 24,000 out of it. I'm not going to show you these lists. Oh, okay. Here is pure insanity. Okay, I should be jumping up and down, pulling my hair out and screaming, but I don't want you guys to get the wrong message, but serious problems this planet has right now. Although these are currently erupting, these are all currently active. 67. There should only be one, not this many. Okay, don't let these lists desensitize you. This is sheer madness. What you're looking at is just insanity. Okay, and this is above the water. Okay, more than 2/3 of the planet is below the water. So take this list of 67 and double it. That would make 144. No, 134. 134 on the ocean floor. Plus the 67, you're looking at 204, 205, something like that. Active volcanoes, either underwater or on land or above the water. All because the sun keeps pumping us full of energy and it just keeps coming out any kind of perforation it can find. Path of least resistance. Okay, let's do our weather really quick, guys. You can go let that load up, and while that's loading up, no. While that's loading up, I'm going to take a moment to thank you for practicing your patience and tolerance and enduring this late into the show to get to this point. So it's not enduring when you have something that's, informative. Okay, so let that go finish on up. Weather is so volatile now, so many different factors, and the spiritual realm. It's basically these forecast models are only good for like 3 days out until we find out what's coming off the sun. So thankfully, no geomagnetic storm hit today, all right? Maybe we missed it, maybe it's a little late, but we're not going to do any kind of geomagnetic enhancement because, well, it's not forecasted, okay? If we do get some, it could cause enhancement, but let's just plug away. Current conditions right now, nighttime of the 26th, up here, over there, you guys can see. Morning of the 27th, noon, Canada, convection, Canada, wake up. Nighttime, 27th, even in here, Illinois, pay attention. Morning of the 28th, noon, convection, a little bit in Ohio, nighttime. See this big old low swirling right there? Oh my God. All right, so nighttime, morning of the 29th, noon, convection. Look at this convection again here on the 29th. That's 2 days out, okay? So this is still pretty accurate. On the 29th there, watch out at convection through that zone, and nighttime again. Morning of the 30th, still up there in Canada, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 31st, noon, convection, nighttime. First, noon, convection, nighttime. September already? Second, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 3rd, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 4th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 5th, noon, convection, nighttime. 6, noon, convection, nighttime. 7, noon, convection, nighttime. 8. Oh my gosh, we're going to get to the forecast of the 10th. Noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 9th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 10th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 11th, noon, convection, nighttime. Gosh, we're that close to the September anniversary. Oh boy. Okay, so there's your weather forecast. Everybody pay attention for the next 72 hours. Is really going to be this event up here in Minnesota, up in Canada. This, well, no, trying to, this right here, going into the morning hours up there in, northern Michigan, Wisconsin area. And then going up into Canada by the noontime, and convection tomorrow for Canada. That's your main one right there to watch for tomorrow. Then after that, still tomorrow or the day after in the morning, clearing out by noon, convection, and just a little sporadic nighttime there on the 28th. This on the 29th, too. Okay, so that's about as far out as we can really kind of semi-accurately forecast. So this event right here, watch out on the 29th around convection and nighttime right there. Convection nighttime on the 29th. Convection, nothing on the 28th, but right here, the nighttime of the 27th and convection of the 27th. Okay. And we're done. We made it through all of that stuff. So let's get on with our spiritual report tonight. Did all your astrophysics, geophysics. Let's do some metaphysics, huh? Let's learn about you and about your soul, about your spirit, if you got any. We did favorites going on. There it is. Thank you, Lord. All right, here we go. Same foundation every night, okay, until you guys really understand, get your foundation set. We're going to pull up some other images here to read to tonight. Come on now. Oh, really? Endure and add to see an image that's going to be frozen. There we go. Clear it out of there. There we go. Oh, stop. Come on now. There we go. A little cleaned up a little bit better there. The face out by the moon. Lo and behold, turns out to be my face. And after what I've been through, it doesn't surprise me. It probably surprises everybody else. But I've been seeing my face showing up all over the place lately. So important that you know what's going on there. What was the other image you wanted to... Oh, the heart, yeah. And we got all kinds of different images. I went through all kinds of different stuff last night. I would go through some more tonight, but I got business to take care of bright and early. And I want to go writhe in pain on my mattress for a little while and pretend like I'm sleeping for... Did we not get our thumbnail going up on that thing? Oh, I know why. We had technical difficulties. Yeah. Okay, so you guys see the little guy right here opening his shirt, pulling his shirt open, exposing his heart, creating this face in the sky right there. Okay, that's your Lord and Savior right there, wearing sunglasses because the future's so bright you gotta wear shades. All right, now a lot of this activity that you're seeing is all because, well, part of the Bible. The Bible is true. It's the basic instructions before leaving Earth. It's how you get to a little glimpse into the character of this individual right here. So when he returns, you'll recognize him. You'll know him by his character, right? Well, you should, but well, things have been so warped and perverted and twisted throughout the, thousands of years, and they don't teach sound doctrine much anymore, so it's hard to recognize when it actually happens. But I think some of you may have recognized what happened and, well, who I am and who that makes you. Yes, who that makes you. I'm trying to be humble about this. Just a lowly little guy here doing my thing, okay? And if you like what I do, well, then you follow me like you follow on YouTube, follow on Facebook, right? So thank you for hanging in there for this part. We're just going to start reading right now because I got some valuable stuff for you guys. I hear you out there all the time. Guys are just going to town now. I love it. I love people that take it seriously and are finding results. Now you're going gangbusters now. As you're starting to see it's really real, and you're feeling the effects. You're experiencing the salvation. You're salvaging days. You're bringing it into other people's life. You're experiencing salvation, and I'm just thankful that you get to partake in the experience that I get to as well. Okay, it's a gift that I like to share with my friends. Okay, and well, it's because I love you. All right. See that heart right there? We can go ahead and blow that one up a little bit bigger. I think it's centralized a little better there. Okay, we're going to start at that image right there. I just need to remind you guys of something. I need to remind you that I love you regardless of how well you are performing. Sometimes you feel uneasy, wondering if you're doing enough to be worthy of my love. No matter how exemplary your behavior, the answer to that question will always be no. Yes, I'm sorry you had to hear that. If you're wondering if you're doing enough to be worthy of my love, the answer is no. Because your performance and my love are totally different issues. Do you understand that? Your performance and my love for you are two different issues. Okay? Two different issues which you need to sort out. Okay? So quit worrying about whether you're going to be worthy of my love. And no matter how good your behavior, the answer is still no. Your performance and my love are two different things. And when you figure that out, you'll understand. You'll understand that I love you with an everlasting love that flows out from eternity without limitations or conditions. My love that flows out from eternity without limitations or conditions. Well, one condition that you believe me, but that's about it. Once you believe me, you'll see that I indeed do love you with everlasting love. And that everlasting love is like everlasting. It doesn't just come and go. It doesn't fade or spoil. It's always there, okay? That's the one, that's what gives you that foundation, that rock, okay? So quit worrying and quit trying with the exemplary behavior, because it's not your performance I'm judging. Okay? I know when you believe me and when you don't. And when you do, you'll see that I love you with everlasting love, like unconditional everlasting love that flows from eternity. It doesn't like just come from some cloud. No, this is coming out of eternity. And it has no limits or conditions. I have clothed you in my robe of righteousness, and this is an eternal transaction. Okay? So nothing and no one can reverse it either. Therefore, your accomplishment as a Christian has no bearing on my love for you. Even your ability to assess how well you are doing on a given day is flawed. Your limited human perspective and the condition of your body with its mercurial variations distort your valuations, okay? Your evaluations are being distorted because your perspective is of your body and all these different variations. Your ability to assess how well you're doing is flawed. Okay? We're working on salvaging our day, and you think you're doing a terrible job. You didn't salvage it properly, and you're still not feeling the effects. Meanwhile, I'm over here going, bravo, you're trying. It's the willingness to do it. You're trying. I love you because you're willing. I love you because you're trying. I love you because you believe me. And when you believe me, therefore, now you know that I love you with everlasting love. Yeah, your ability to assess how well you're doing is flawed. Okay, so don't assess it that way. Bring your performance anxiety to me and receive in its place my unfailing love. Oh boy. Did you just hear that? I just let you off the hook. Your performance anxiety? What the heck are you doing? You don't have to have performance anxiety around me. And if you do, well, bring that anxiety to me and receive in its place my unfailing love. Try to stay conscious of my loving presence with you in all that you do, and I will direct your steps. Okay? It's hard to stay aware all the time of my loving presence, but try to stay conscious of my loving presence with you in all that you do, and I will direct your steps. Okay? Now, I know this stuff is weird and creepy, and it's like, oh, this can't be really real. Well, it is. It's really real. We're in the times. Okay? The rapture, everybody's like, the rapture should be happening right now. All this other stuff has happened. Well, it is kind of happening, except the word rapture is not in the Bible. It talks about getting caught up in a good book, caught up in a good song, caught up in a good live stream, right? Caught up in a thread of TikTok videos. Here you are caught up with me in the clouds. Okay, that's me in the clouds. You are fascinated, you're caught up with that. And it can be scary for some, right? But I want you to understand, do not be afraid, for I am with you. And hear me say, peace, be still. Okay? Hear me say, peace and be still to your restless heart. No matter what happens, I will never leave you or forsake you. So let this assurance soak into your mind. Let this assurance soak into your heart. Let this assurance soak into your mind and heart until you overflow with joy. And though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, you need not fear. The media is relentlessly proclaiming bad news. They do it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's this steady diet. They just spoon feed this slop to the public, and everybody gobbles it up like it's the gospel. Well, the mainstream media relentlessly proclaims bad news, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A steady diet of their sickened, I don't even know what to call it, the slop. A steady diet of their slop will sicken you. So instead of focusing on fickle and ever-changing news broadcasts, tune into the living word, the one who is always the same. Let Scripture saturate your mind and heart, and you will walk steadily along the path of life. And even though you don't know what will happen tomorrow, you can be absolutely sure of your ultimate destination, can't you? don't you? Think about that. Even though you don't know what'll happen tomorrow, you can be absolutely sure of one thing: your ultimate destination. I indeed hold you by your right hand, and afterward I will take you into glory. Okay, it's important that you understand this battle, this war that's going on, is a war for your mind. Okay, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against spiritual principalities. Okay, and those principalities want to control your mind. Okay, you were spoon-fed a bunch of slop from day one. You went through school, and it's still continuing to this day in mainstream media. They got you all looking over here in left field. Meanwhile, this is what's really going down. Sorry, did a good shot for you. So, it's a war for your mind. Okay, and when you realize this, you're going to have to make a decision. So, let me control your mind. The mind is the most restless and unruly part of mankind, isn't it? What's the most unruly part of mankind? The mind. And long after you have learned the discipline of holding your tongue, your thoughts defy your will and set themselves up against me. Man is the pinnacle of my creation, and the human mind is wonderfully complex. I risked all by granting you freedom to think for yourself. I risked everything to grant you freedom to think for yourself. This is a godlike privilege, okay? Forever setting you apart from the animals and robots, AI, by the way. I made you in my image, precariously close to deity. And though my blood has fully redeemed you, your mind is the last bastion of rebellion. Okay? So, my blood has redeemed you, but your mind is the last bastion of rebellion. So open yourself to my radiant presence, letting my light permeate your thinking. And when my spirit is controlling your mind, you are filled with life and peace. Aren't you? You guys did really well today. I'm so thankful for success. Boy, do I go into that too? We could go off on that tangent here. Ooh, that's a long one. Do we go right here or turn right? Oh, I guess we go right here then. Yeah. All right, got more here. Hang in there. We're still going. So, if you listen to me continually, I have much to communicate to you. So many people, so many situations in need of prayer. I am training you to set your mind on me more and more, tuning out distractions through the help of my spirit. So walk with me in holy trust, responding to my initiatives rather than trying to make things fit your plans. You see, I died to set you free so you could think freely for yourself, and that includes freedom from compulsive planning too. So when your mind spins with a multitude of thoughts and you cannot hear my voice, yeah. When your mind spins with a multitude of thoughts, you cannot hear my voice. A mind preoccupied with planning Okay? It's a mind that's preoccupied, planning, worrying, all of this stuff. A mind that's preoccupied with planning pays homage to the idol of control. You're trying to plan out your day and control it, and that becomes an idol. So turn from that kind of idolatry back to me and listen to me and live abundantly. You guys are living abundantly now. Way so more than you ever thought you could before you came to this show. Okay, again, this is your foundation. I keep showing this for a reason. It's important that you keep your eyes on me, not only for direction, but also for empowerment. Okay, I empower you with these images, don't I? So keep your eyes on me, not only for direction, but also for that empowerment. I never lead you to do something without equipping you for the task. And that is why it's important to seek my will in everything you do. My will in everything you do. There are many burned out Christians who think their more is always better, and they deem it unspiritual to say no. In order to know my will, you must spend time with me, enjoying my presence. This is not some erroneous task. It should be a delightful privilege. I know it is for 20 of you out there, because there's 20 here and 20 thumbs up. You're having a delightful time because you're enjoying my presence. So in order to know my will, you must spend that time with me, enjoying my presence. And this is not an erroneous task. It should be a delightful privilege. And what do? I will show you the path of life. In my presence is fullness of joy, isn't it? And at my right hand there are pleasures forevermore. So rest in this stillness of my presence while I prepared you for this next day. Let the radiance of my glory shine upon you and wait on me in confident trust. Okay? You're waiting with me in your confident trust. Okay? You can be still and know that I am God, and there is both a passive and an active side to trusting me. As you rest in my presence, focusing on me, I quietly build bonds of trust between us. And when you respond to the circumstances of your life with the affirmations of trust, you actively participate in this process. You're actively participating in the process now. I love you guys. When you respond to the circumstances of your life with the affirmations of trust, that is the active participation in this process. You can't just sit there and let it fall in your lap. You have to be actively participating. Okay? And then look at that and know that I am always with you. So you have no reason to be afraid. Your fear often manifests itself in excessive planning. Your mind is so accustomed to this pattern of thinking that you are only now just starting to become aware of how pervasive it is and how much it hinders your intimacy with me. So repent of this tendency, the tendency of thinking that you're only now becoming aware, or the thinking that circumstances in your life. Okay, you get distracted. So your mind is so accustomed to that pattern of thinking that you're only now becoming aware that it's pervasive and that it actually hinders your intimacy with me. And when you repent of that tendency to resist, well, whenever you realize you're wandering down this well-worn path, return to my presence, which always awaits you in the present moment. So it doesn't matter when you return to my presence, it's in that present moment. So repent of this tendency and resist. And whenever you realize you're wandering down the well-worn path, return to my presence, which always awaits you in the present moment, and I will accept you back with no condemnation. Okay? I understand all the distractions. When you forget about me for 5 minutes, well, that's understandable. There's so much going on. And I accept you back with no condemnation. Okay? Okay, I guess we're going to go even deeper with that, too. Wow, you want to go all the way through this? All right, hang in there. We got more. So, make me your focal point as you move through each day. And just like a spinning ballerina must keep her returning her eyes to a given point to maintain her balance, you must keep returning your focus to me. Okay, when a ballerina or an ice skater is spinning, they pick a spot on the floor or a spot on the wall and they fix their eyes on it, right, while they're moving. So as you make your way through that day, just like she has to do that, try to fix your eyes on a given point. You must keep returning your focus to me. Circumstances are always in flux, and the world seems to be whirling around you, doesn't it? The only way to keep your balance is to fix your eyes on me, the one who never changes. And if you gaze too long at your circumstances, you'll become dizzy and confused. So look to me, refreshing yourself in my presence, and your steps will be steady and sure. We can go one more. Yeah, and that's the, yeah. So here's the closer to that session, and we're going to do two. That one, I guess. Yeah. All right. So now that you learned how to make me your focal point, your circumstances are in flux, and you keep returning your eyes back to me, you're seeing the world through a different perspective now. So welcome problems as your perspective lifters. Okay, problems aren't problems. They really aren't. They're perspective lifters. They teach you how to look at things in a bigger picture, in a bigger scheme. So, welcome your problems as perspective lifters. My children tend to sleepwalk through their days until they bump into an obstacle. And then that obstacle stymies them. If you encounter a problem with no immediate solution, your response to that situation will take you either up or down. Now, you can lash out at the difficulty, resenting it and feeling sorry for yourself, and that'll take you down into the self-pity, that pit of self-pity I talk about. Alternatively, the problem can be a ladder, enabling you to climb up and to see your life from my perspective. Viewed from above, the obstacle that frustrated you is only light and momentary trouble. Okay? You got to start viewing your problems as light and momentary. This too shall pass, right? So, you're frustrated, an obstacle has frustrated you, look at it as only light and momentary, and once your perspective has been heightened, you can look away from the problem altogether. You can turn toward me and see the light of my presence shining upon you. Turn toward me and see the light of my presence shining upon you. Look up at the screen and see the light of my presence shining upon you. Mm-hmm. I sure love you. I sure miss you. And you guys are awesome. I'm so thankful that you're actually taking it seriously and finding the real salvation. You're out there tackling each day, taking it on, and you see the spiritual battle now. And it's not easy. You realize that even though you have this foundation, everything doesn't make every day perfect. No, it's still going to be bumps in the road. That's why you have this, so you can fall back on this foundation and salvage your day. Okay? We know self-pity. We don't want you slipping your foot into that pit of self-pity. If you do, recognize that you've done it. Say it too. I did it again. Sorry, Lord. I'm doing it again. I'm going down that road of self-pity. Help me out of that pit, Lord. Help me out of that pit of self-pity. When you catch yourself doing it, a simple prayer like that, boom, problem solved, fixed right away. And you guys are finding it. And it's really working for you. And I am just glad. I'm so happy that I am able to share what I have with you. Okay? And if you are experiencing that, you truly are one of mine. Okay? Here we are at this time in history. It should be the rapture, should be any day now. I mean, we've had this and we've had that. All the signs have happened. Rapture should be any moment. Well, the rapture is happening right now. It's just not the way Hollywood portrayed. The word rapture is not in the Bible. I don't know why it's been used for eons and debated over for so long, and all this wasted time and energy over a word that doesn't exist. If you read it correctly, it says, after these things happen, look up. When you look up, you'll see me coming in the clouds with power and great glory. This crown signifies power and great glory. This is me in the clouds with power and great glory. This happened on Easter, 2020. So you are looking at me in the clouds. It's fascinating. It's intriguing. You get caught up in it like a good book, like a good song. You are caught up with me in the clouds. I can't come over and give you a hug right now. I got to meet my family in the air of cyberspace. If you're here, that means you met me in the air of cyberspace. Oh, if you're here at YouTube watching my show, that means you met me in the air or cyberspace. You are caught up with me in the clouds here. That makes you, well, raptured, but it makes you complete. I complete your faith. Now your faith is taken to a higher level of knowing. You can go beyond believing and faith into a new realm of knowing. And when you know for sure and you're rock solid in your foundation, nothing will shake you. Okay? Things might rattle you, but you will be able to salvage that and recover your day and still be able to smile at others and shine and bring that light into other people's lives. Maybe they don't see it, but your face shines like this when you're interacting with other people, and you bring that into other people's lives. Okay, it's important that you take what I give you and bring it into other people's lives where you're at. Okay, in your little world. Know that everything that's going down comes from a heart of love. We've got a lot of bad people in powerful places that have. Well, power corrupts, absolutely, right? So we got a lot of issues that have been going on for a while, and well, you can see that's what's going down. All right, comes from a place of love. I love you guys. I miss you guys. And until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. And I love you. Bye.